live in a small, quiet neighborhood just outside of a mid-sized city. The kind of place where you know your neighbor's dog's name, but have never actually spoken to them for more than 5 minutes. I'm 23, single, work night shifts at a tech support center, and I mostly keep to myself. It's boring, but after everything that happened last year, boring is good. But even now, I still can't walk past that streetlight without checking to see if she's there. Let me explain. It started one cold November night, one of those clear, silent ones where the air feels like it's holding its breath. I had just finished my shift and was walking home from the bus stop. It's a 10-minute walk, mostly uphill, with one long stretch where there's no sidewalk. Just a row of decaying trees and one flickering streetlight that hums like an old refrigerator. That night, I saw someone standing under it. She was tall, maybe 5'10", with long black hair that fell down her back in tangles. She was facing away from me, wearing a pale dress that didn't match the weather. Her posture was strange, rigid, almost like she was waiting for something. I slowed down, not sure if she needed help or if I was about to become the next dumbass in a missing persons documentary. I cleared my throat softly as I approached. "Hey, are you all right?" No answer. She didn't move. I stopped a few feet behind her, now more confused than concerned. Her arms hung at her sides like dead weight. Her head was tilted slightly upward, like she was staring at the streetlight itself. "I can call someone if you're in trouble," I offered. Then she turned around. I've never forgotten that face. Her skin was pale, too pale, like paper. Her eyes were wide open and the whites were almost too white. No blood vessels, no blinking. Just two wide, lifeless eyes locked on mine. She didn't speak. She didn't even open her mouth. But something about the way she looked at me made my chest tighten. I stepped back instinctively. "Okay, you take care," I muttered, and walked away, faster than before. When I reached the gate to my apartment complex, I turned around. She was gone. No footsteps, no rustling in the leaves, no sound at all. Just empty pavement under that humming, flickering light. I told myself it was just someone on drugs, or maybe a prank. But even as I unlocked my apartment, I had the strangest feeling that I hadn't walked away from her. She had let me go. The next few nights, I didn't see her. I even started walking different routes just in case. But curiosity got the better of me, and 5 days later, I passed by the same streetlight again. She was there. Same position, same white dress, still facing away from me. But this time I didn't say anything. I just walked by quickly, eyes forward, heart pounding. When I reached the end of the street, I glanced back. She hadn't moved, still staring at the light, still waiting. Then things started happening at home. It began with small things, lights flickering even when the power was fine. My bedroom window would be open in the morning, even though I kept it locked at night. I started waking up between 3 and 4 a.m. every night, drenched in sweat, feeling like someone was watching me. I tried to laugh it off. Maybe I was just stressed. Maybe my mind was playing tricks on me. Until the night I came home to find muddy footprints in my hallway. They were small, barefoot, delicate prints that started at the front door and stopped right outside my bedroom. I checked everything. Locks, windows, nothing broken, nothing stolen. Just footprints like someone had walked in, watched me sleep, and left. That night I dreamed about her. In the dream, she was sitting at the foot of my bed, her head tilted down, long hair covering her face. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. The room was cold and I could hear the humming of that streetlight in the distance. She lifted her head slowly and whispered, "You saw me." I woke up screaming. The next morning I decided to do something about it. I went to the police and reported what I thought might have been a break-in. They came by, looked around, asked a few questions, and left without much help. There was no sign of forced entry, and they chalked the footprints up to a dirty roommate or guest. I lived alone. I told my friend Daniel about it, one of the few people I trusted. He was into paranormal stuff, and when I described the girl under the streetlight, His face went pale. "You ever heard of the Watcher Girl urban legend?" he asked. "No." "She's been seen all over the country. Always the same. Tall, pale, black hair, white dress, appears under streetlights. If you see her once, you're cursed. If you talk to her..." He stopped. "What?" "She follows you." I didn't want to believe him, but I couldn't shake the feeling that he was right. The final straw came 1 week later. I was in bed. The lights were off. My door was closed. I couldn't sleep. I just laid there, eyes half shut, when I heard the humming sound again. But this time, it wasn't outside. It was in my room, low and steady, like an electric current buzzing from the ceiling. I sat up in bed. She was standing in the corner of my room. Same dress, same posture, same blank, lifeless eyes. And she wasn't alone. There was something else. A shape, dark and crouching, right behind her, barely visible in the shadow. I couldn't move, couldn't scream. She took a step forward, her feet not making a sound on the wooden floor. Then she pointed at me and whispered, "You shouldn't have seen me." The next thing I remember, I was waking up to daylight. No trace of her, no sound, no shadow in the corner. Just sunlight spilling through the window like it hadn't witnessed what I had the night before. I sat up, shaking. My sheets were soaked in sweat. My heart still thumped like a drum in my chest. Had it been a dream? No, because the humming was still there. Faint, yes, but present. It was no longer just coming from the streetlight. It was inside me, like it had been wired into my skull. I took a sick day from work and tried to convince myself I was losing it. Stress, paranoia, isolation. It all made sense logically. Maybe I was hallucinating from lack of sleep or the stress of being alone for too long. But that logic vanished when I saw the girl again. This time she wasn't under the streetlight. She was across the street from my apartment, standing by the dumpsters in the alley, in broad daylight. Her dress was dirtier now, like it had been dragged through gravel. Her hair looked longer, wetter, hanging like seaweed over her shoulders. But she wasn't looking at me this time. She was looking at my window. Her eyes locked directly onto mine. I dropped the blinds so fast I cut my finger on the pull cord. That night I stayed with Daniel. I didn't tell him the full extent of what happened, just that she had followed me somehow and was near my apartment. He didn't laugh. He didn't ask if I was drunk or dreaming. He just nodded and handed me a bottle of water. "I know a guy," he said after a while. "He deals with stuff like this. Not a priest, not a psychic. More like an in-between. You want me to call him?" I hesitated, then nodded. "Yeah, please." The guy's name was Jonah. He looked like he'd been living out of his truck for years. Messy hair, faded hoodie, rough voice. But when I told him everything, from the first night I saw her to the figure behind her in my room, he didn't blink. "I've seen this before," he said. "Streetlight spirits." "Wait, spirits?" I asked. He nodded. "They're not human. Never were. They just use human form because it lures people in. The light is a doorway. Old energy. Ancient stuff. Most people walk by and never notice. But once you see them, you can't unsee them. And if you talk to them," he whistled through his teeth, "they mark you." "So now what do I do?" I asked, heart racing. He paused. "You got a basement?" "Yeah, why?" "I'll need it. And salt. A lot of it." We spent that whole night preparing. Jonah walked around my apartment burning sage and sprinkling salt in every corner. He set up candles, a mirror, and placed a small cracked bowl filled with what he called grave sand in the center of the basement floor. "You'll sleep down here tonight," he said. "Sleep? Are you serious?" He didn't smile. "Yeah, because she's going to come. And when she does, you need to look her in the eyes, but not with fear, with authority." "Authority?" I laughed nervously. "She's not exactly the kind of girl you can boss around. She feeds on fear, If you show strength, even fake it, she'll lose power. But if you run, she'll never stop. I didn't sleep that night. I laid on the mattress Jonah placed on the basement floor, surrounded by flickering candlelight, the hum of silence in my ears. Time passed slowly, painfully. Then, around 3:21 a.m., the temperature dropped. The candles flickered violently, one by one snuffing out. The humming returned louder than ever. And then I heard the footsteps, soft, bare, coming down the basement stairs. My mouth dried up. My fingers clenched the bedsheet. My heart felt like it was trying to rip through my ribs. I looked toward the stairs. She was standing halfway down them, eyes glowing slightly in the dark. Her hair brushed against the wall as she moved. Behind her, that shape again, bigger this time, taller, its limbs unnaturally long, moving like branches in a windless storm. I remembered Jonah's words, "Don't run, don't show fear." So I sat up. She walked to the bottom of the stairs and stood across from me. Then for the first time, she spoke out loud, not in a whisper, not in a dream. "You saw me." Her voice was like wind through a broken pipe, soft and shrill at the same time. "I didn't mean to," I whispered. "You spoke to me. I'm sorry." She tilted her head. "You're marked. You belong to the light now." "No," I said, more firmly this time. "You don't belong here. You need to leave." Her expression shifted, lips curling slightly, teeth showing. Not a smile. A warning. The lights in the basement exploded all at once. The mirror cracked. The grave sand bowl shattered. I was suddenly on my back, staring up at the ceiling, and when I sat up again, they were gone. The basement was empty, but burned into the wall across from me in black ash was a single word: mine. I left the house that morning, packed a single bag, told the landlord I was done, and stayed with Daniel for a week. Then I moved, changed cities, changed jobs, changed everything. But sometimes when I'm out at night, walking past a streetlight, I still hear the hum, and I still wonder if I was ever actually meant to get away. It's been 6 months since I moved. A different city, a new job, a decent apartment, clean, bright, modern. No creaky floorboards, no flickering bulbs. It felt like I had outrun the curse. I started sleeping through the night again. I even laughed with people. For a while I believed it was over, but you know what they say, you don't run from them. You delay them. It started again on a Tuesday night. I had just returned from work, dropped my keys into the bowl by the door and noticed it, the faint buzzing. Not from inside, not in my head. From outside my window. A soft hum, just like before. A sound I could never mistake again. I stood still, staring through the slits of my blinds. The streetlight directly across from my apartment was glowing. Steady. No flickering this time. But something was off. Its glow was brighter, too bright, like it was calling me. And just below it, standing perfectly still, was her. The same white dress, same hair, same posture. Only this time her head was tilted up. Not toward the light, but directly at my window. She knew. She had found me. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't turn off the lights. I kept my phone in my hand, waiting. She didn't move, not an inch. Just stood there, watching. At exactly 4:03 a.m., the power went out. My room plunged into darkness. I backed up to the far wall, phone flashlight shaking in my hand, heart pounding like a war drum in my ears. I didn't dare look out the window again. Instead, I grabbed my phone and called Daniel. No answer. I called again. Straight to voicemail. Panic took over. I didn't want to stay here anymore. I grabbed my keys, yanked the door open, and froze. Lying on my doormat was a white dress, folded perfectly, pressed like it had never been worn. But it was the exact same one. I didn't need to touch it to know. I backed away slowly, shut the door, and locked every bolt I had. This wasn't a haunting anymore. It was a message. She was getting closer. I tried to track Jonah down, but his number was disconnected and Daniel hadn't been to work in days. I messaged him, texted, called, no replies, not even read receipts. Then, 3 days later, I received a package. No return address. Inside was a flash drive and a note. You should have stayed with the light. My hands trembled as I plugged it into my laptop. The screen flickered and a video opened. It was grainy footage from what looked like a body cam, probably Jonah's. It showed him walking into a house I didn't recognize. Each step was shaky, as if he was being pulled forward. He went down into a basement. My basement. From my old apartment. But it was different. The walls were covered in handprints. Black, scorched marks. The mirror from before was broken in pieces. Candles were still melted onto the floor, the salt long washed away. Then, the camera glitched. For half a second, the screen filled with static. And then, her face, pressed against the lens, smiling, blood dripping from her mouth. Behind her was the thing, the shadowy figure with too many limbs, bent and twitching. The video cut out. That night, I heard a voice in my room. Not outside, inside. It whispered, "Come outside." I shut my eyes, covered my ears, prayed, waited. Nothing. When I opened my eyes, there was a figure at the foot of my bed. It was Daniel. His eyes were rolled back, his lips stitched shut with what looked like wire. His skin was ashen, dry, almost plastic. He reached out with trembling fingers and pointed at the window. And then, just as suddenly as he appeared, he collapsed into dust. I didn't move, didn't scream. I just sat there, paralyzed with fear. The streetlight outside was glowing like a star going supernova. And underneath it now stood both of them, her and it, together, waiting. I left the city the next morning. Didn't pack, didn't tell anyone. I drove for 10 hours straight, stopping in a nameless, dust-filled town no one had heard of. Rented the first motel I saw, and for 2 weeks, nothing happened. No streetlight, no humming, just blessed silence. But this morning, I woke up and the lights were flickering again. There was a knock at my door. Soft, rhythmic, almost gentle. I looked through the peephole. No one. But when I opened the door, there it was again. The dress, freshly folded. Only this time, there was something written on the inside, in black ink. You belong to the light now. So here I am, sitting in a motel room with a single lamp burning beside me, afraid to fall asleep. Because I know that wherever I go, she'll find me. She isn't a ghost. She's not even a demon. She's something older than both. Something that lives in the space between light and dark. A spirit born of ancient energy and fed by attention, fear, memory. And now that I've seen her, spoken to her, dreamt of her, I've become a part of her world. She doesn't want to haunt me anymore. She wants to replace me. If I disappear, and you find this, don't try to help. Don't go looking under the streetlights at night. And if you ever see a girl in a white dress, standing alone, facing away from you, don't speak to her. Don't ask if she's okay. Just keep walking. And whatever you do, don't look back.